Hi, my name is Corey Morbina, and today I'm going to be present on Enhancing Research Report by Oscar Grouch. The report is named An Investigation into Plasma Gasification as a Waste Disposal for Landfills. Have you ever written a report and you're not really sure if it looks good, or even read somebody else's report and you're find it hard to follow, stay interested, all those kind of things? It happens to all of us. Hopefully through this presentation I can kind of help with that a little bit. The purpose of this presentation is to provide recommendations to Oscar Grouch to enhance his report. In this presentation I will provide a summary of Oscar's research. I will explain writing styles in APA and also parts of a research paper. I'll also provide Oscar with additional recommendations. I look to recap what I've gone over, open the table for questions and comments, and I'll follow up with references. So Oscar's research is an analytical report on the evaluation of plasma gasification technology as an alternative solution to landfills. He goes on to discuss the need of alternate solutions to waste disposal. He explains the technology behind it, current initiatives in place by Toronto to reduce their wastes, the environmental impacts, and the cost analysis. So first thing I want to focus on is writing the APA style. When we write an APA style, you have to be very precise to follow the APA style as it recommends. For headings and subheadings, there are very specific ways that these should be put into your paper. Oscar's report, he italicizes level 2 headings. This is not the proper way to do it in APA style. The only you shouldn't begin italicizing headings until you reach level 4. But as I had said, he had done it in level 2. When in level 2 you should have it bolded, you should have it flush to the left of the page. You should be capitalizing the first letter of each word in the paragraph to follow on the next line in 10 to 5 spaces. Also in APA style, you should be using a running head and page numbering. The running head, on the cover page only, it should state that it is a running head followed by a colon and then the title. Title should be reduced to 50 words. And your page numbering should begin at your page cover. Oscar has not used any running head in his report. And the page numbering, as I said, it should begin with 1, but he begins with Roman numerals. So the different parts of a research report in APA style consist of the cover, the transmittal, the summary, table of contents and illustrations, an introduction, criteria, conclusions, recommendations, references, and appendices. I won't be focused on all of them. I'm going to choose specific ones to focus on. So first of all, we'll start with the cover. The title should start with a verb identifying the goal, and then ending with the location or audience. Better Communications explains it like this. If you use a noun, it sounds polite, neat, still, and forgettable. However, if you use a verb, you get a dynamic, energized, memorable start. You should also capitalize all words over 3 letters. So Oscar's original title was An Investigation into Plasma Gasification as a Waste Disposal Alternative to Landfills. A revised title suggestion would be Investigating Plasma Gasification as a Waste Disposal Alternative for Toronto. Again, when we use a verb such as investigating, it's more memorable, it sounds more energized. It's not just like a lecture. The next one I want to look at is transmittal letter. Transmittal letters should be 3 paragraphs. The first one should be submittal statement. It should include the report title and authorization. The second paragraph should be a brief summary with references to conclusions and recommendations. And then the third should be acknowledgements, appreciation, questions. Oscar does quite well with paragraphs 1 and 3. However, on paragraph 2, he fails to include conclusions and recommendations. And instead he mentions technical terms and a glossary at the end of the paper, which is really not needed in this paragraph. Executive summary. So in an executive summary, you're looking to summarize the report section by section, 1 paragraph per section. As it is an executive summary, this is something that you are going to be presenting to an executive team, management, that type of person. You want to avoid highly technical terms when doing this. Although your managers and such may have a little bit of background on it, they're not going to be as technically advanced as you are. You want to make sure you're presenting a report that everybody can understand, especially if you're looking to get funding for this. In Oscar's summary, his summary is fairly strong. However, he does use some highly technical terms which should be avoided, as it is an executive summary. And if you look at this image, there's a guy in a suit. It could be executive. He says, "I don't want to get too technical because I can't." Scope. So the scope should include the authorizer and the audience, the criteria, the factors, the boundaries and the limitations of your report. Oscar does create a good scope. However, he states that detailed operation or theory would not be included in the report. He later goes on in the report to explain in pretty deep detail the processes and the parts and all that kind of stuff. So his scope was off from his paper, so he should revisit his scope and fix that. Tables and figures. Oscar uses tables and figures through his report. However, they are not done correctly. Tables and figures, the reader referral and explanation should be within the works, which he does quite well. However, when we use a table or figure, we should label it, we should title it, we should provide table clarification if needed, brief description of what the table is about and how it relates, and we should also provide the source properly. If you look at the image on the screen, it shows all of this information is along the bottom of the figure. You can see figure 1, he has labeled it smoking habits, provided a caption or a title. He explained where he took it from, and he also sourced. In Oscar's, he just labels the figure on top of the image itself, and he puts a source on the bottom. He does not title. He also does not have it on the right location, so he should revisit that. When you write a conclusion, you're looking to summarize everything, give a rationale. You need to separate results and clearly explain them. You don't want to present new info. You want to present everything in present tense with opinions. Oscar's report lacks conciseness in this area. Is very wordy. Recommendations somewhat similar. You look to summarize your findings. You provide an overall recommendations, and you provide next steps where you'd like to see the research go. Oscar's report is very repetitive. It's very hard to follow in this section. It should be revisited and think more clear recommendations and next step goals. Appendices. Appendices should have each appendix should have its own title page. They should be labeled and titled. They should be explained, sourced, and they should also be referenced in the research. Oscar's report, the appendix is not labeled or titled. He also only mentions it during the letter in the beginning, transmittal letter. So he needs to go back and look at this. Some additional recommendations I have for Oscar is he should focus more on the research regarding the amount of energy and other materials produced, along with the demand on the materials that are produced with the gasification process. You could use this to quantify and support sustainability claims, which right now is kind of lacking. His report says it could be basically says it could be an option, but there's no evidence to support anything. So he really needs to build a better case, and I think through more research on the amount of energy and other materials produced can help do that. He should also look to omit parts in the body of his work. In the body of his work, he explains in great detail the various parts of the gasification technology. These aren't really relevant to his research. He could include them as an appendix if somebody wanted to kind of look for a deeper understanding of all the parts involved. However, you shouldn't include it in the work. It should be more focused on the process of how it works, and not so much the parts. So to recap, Oscar should go back over his whole report and with a focus on APA rules and styles. There is a lot of APA structure lacking in his report that could make this report much better. He should also focus on some costs and revenue that can be generated with this technology. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me. My name is Corey Morvina. Once again, my email is k24cklm@mun.ca. Here's my references. Thank you for your time, and I hope you guys learned something from this.